So we start a lecture session this afternoon. Today is December 14th, and we invite the Professor Uchino from Pennsylvania State University, and he will give the lecture on intellectual property right management. That is the first part of the lecture. The second part of the lecture is on the decision making based on the game theory. So both of the lecture are based on his own textbook, and you will take a look at textbook and okay. So the schedule will be up to 5:30 or something. So it might be the two sessions. Okay, Professor, please.
Thank you very much, Anegawa-sensei. I will make two presentations. One is intellectual properties based on the patent. So the patent part will be the first, and the second part is the decision making. After finishing my biohistories, probably why I'm combining these two in my presentations. Biohistories, some of you already knows me, but I have been a university professor already 45 years, the 18 years in Japan, and 29 years already passed at the Penn State University. In parallel, I have been a company executive, a president or vice president for totally 21 years. The Japan, 7 years as the NF Electronics Corporation, and the 7 years Micromechatronics. These are two longest. And also parallelly, government officer, 7 years. When I was a Japanese citizen, I was working for the NASDA, currently JAXA. And after moving to the United States, I have been a U.S. ONR, Office of Naval Researchers, for 4 years. 4 years stand for the Navy Ambassador to Japan. So I helped the rescue program for helping Tohoku areas, nuclear power plant, and so on. Academically, I'm well known as a discoverer or inventor of the piezoelectric actuators. Using piezoelectric materials to move something mechanically, this is the piezo actuators. I created this terminology. And also single crystal relaxer type, PGNPT or PMNPT. This is rather famous materials. We invented here this one in the end of 70s to early 1980s, because this is one of the major sonar the materials used in the Navy. Therefore, Navy tried to recruit me to work in the United States as a so-called discoverer or inventor of these materials. Currently, I belong to the engineering. This is the home department, ferroelectric devices, micromechatronics. These I'm teaching. Also, I belong to the College of Science and Material Science and Engineering Department professor, and the business school professor. And also, I'm moving to the law school professors from now on, and I will teach for the political engineering, global crisis technologies, and so on. Personally, I'm a Buddhist. You are probably familiar with this, the Iaido, or the Zen, and so on. Again, personally, my grandson already got into the Tsukuba University last year, so you may know my age, okay? Piezoelectric effect. In this presentations, patent related with the piezoelectric actuator is a main. And I attended twice for the patent infringement lawsuit in New York and so on. Okay? Therefore, I will initially discussed the piezoelectric effect. Direct piezoelectric effect means the heating creates some charge, electricity. Piezo stands for the Greek and meaning force, okay? And the igniter, microphone, pressure sensor, these are the most popularly utilized. Converse piezoelectric, this is a reverse effect. By applying electric field, even the ceramics will extend or shrink.
Mechanism which drives the printing wire.
Sorry for this.
Mechanism which drives the printing wire.
Okay. So this was created by NEC Corporation in 1985, the first dot matrix printer using piezoelectric multi-layer actuators. I authored the 78 books so far, and the 18 here are the textbooks, so-called, and used widely in the United States and Japan, and also Chinese and Korean. Almost all my graduate students, they are already the professors. They try to, translate for each languages, okay? So basically, this part is ferroelectric materials related. This is micromechatronics. This is for the mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. And this part is the MBA, and also this is a law school. This is MBA textbook. This is law school textbook, crisis technology. I will skip my, the center, research center's topic because you are not the expert in this area. Intellectual properties, patent infringement. So I will present a multiple number of the patent infringement lawsuit, okay? So initially, what is intellectual property? Second, why is IP important? And how can we create? So patentability, and also the patent infringement lawsuit case, these will be discussed. What is intellectual properties? Wikipedia provide legal field and so on. IP include copyright, trademarks, patent, the related rights, and the exclusive rights. These are some of the key words, okay? Patent. United States doesn't have a utility model, but Japan used to have a utility patent and the industrial right, trademark, copyright, trade secret. Invention, usually patent. Low-level invention like designing and so on, these are utility type. And the industrial decision right, product design, and the trademark, product trademark. And copyright, you may know, software is now belongs to the copyright, okay? And the trade secret is this, okay? So difference is here, protection period, 20 years, 6 years, 15 years, 10 years plus minus. And the copyright is actually 50 years after this guy's death. This is, usually copyright is novel or art and drawing. These situations, artists pass away, still 50 years copyright is maintained. But the ridiculous situation came up recently. Computer software. This belongs to copyright. Nobody will use that after this 50 years. Okay. So basically, this handling situation should be changed dramatically, okay? And the publication and so on, okay? Industrial properties, usually the patent, utility, and the design right, and the trademark. These colored part is the industrial properties, usually protected by the company, okay? Why is IP important? Why is IP important?
Because it's someone's work result. It represents for the hard work. If we don't take it important, it will be damage for the creative things. People will have low incentive for more creative things to lose the creativity.
Okay. Why is IP important? When your company manufactures a patented product, your company, okay, protection from the imitation steal by other companies of the technology developed by the investing money and manpower. That's the most important. Other companies should not make this. So this is a protection. Another one, when your company will not manufacture the patented product, I submitted more than 200 some the patents, but still I maintain the 33 patents, okay? So these patents, why am I taking? I'm not, some of the patents are made by company, but actually our company is mostly for the military, so no patent is essential, okay? But in that case, what is this? Getting profit, transfer or license of the IP to the other company. To collect money, that's another important issue for the patent, okay? So if you consider, if you are just a simple like housewife, okay? If you consider something and write it and sell it to the NEC or Toshiba, okay? You will be rich. Typically, the patent creates $1 million to $2 million, okay? If widely successfully made. The patent, as I told you, at Penn State, royalty and so on, will be set 3% to the maximum 10% range, okay? Therefore, our product is usually used by the Samsung, like some of them are Samsung Galaxy. In that case, how many pieces can you sell, okay? Usually these are telephone and so on, 10 million pieces, okay? So of course the component, our component itself, for each one is typically less than $10. But even if the $1 or less than $1 for each, you can understand, yeah, okay? So 1% of the minimum 10 million pieces. So it's more than your salary already. So this is good. Exclusive license, you use the exclusive license. What is a non-exclusive and exclusive license? What's the difference?
Exclusive license means one company or a person can only use the technology or whatever. But in non-exclusive license, other people can use the technology.
If you take university partners, as I told you, university usually doesn't allow the exclusive license. What is the reason?
Why doesn't the university take exclusive?
Usually no exclusive license from the university.
Oh, no exclusive because what they study they want to share to other companies. Not just to keep it inside university.
Key reason is the university's position, okay? University equal opportunity for any persons. Therefore, exclusive means only for one company's purpose. Of course, in some case, exclusivity can be accepted. as long as you will pay 10% very high, the royalty. However, the university tried to license 3 or 4 multiple companies. In that case, each company, even the 3%, okay, all are created large enough. Therefore, exclusive license, non-exclusive, if you negotiate non-exclusive, of course you can negotiate a much lower royalty. From a small business viewpoint, of course, lower payment for the university is most important, okay? Otherwise, your company will bankrupt.
Is it 2 kinds, so you pay different fee to actually get the license?
Mm-hmm. Non-exclusive means university can license multiple companies. Patent pirates. Do you know the meaning?
Yes, imitate the product. Take the idea.
Making a product.
An idea.
That's one issue, but the patent pirate.
Buying or stealing their patent.
Typical one, I will introduce later, okay? But do you know the Reiwa, this name was already patented by China, okay? We don't call it a patent, but a trademark, okay? So the Reiwa Corporation and so on, all are taken before Japanese government reports Reiwa. So some of the, the spy route, they may know already Reiwa or other possible 10 different ones. All are taken, okay? You may know the Mujirushi in Japan has already failed. Therefore, if the Mujirushi will export to China, they need to pay the trademark fee, okay? So basically, knowing this kind of situations, initially filing IP, they are not making anything, but collecting all money itself. This is usually called the patent pirate. The similar one, some of the patent, yes, I will introduce later. NEC patent or other companies' patent is initially usually ask the Japanese patent first. So they are seeking the Japanese patent and patenting in the United States. So they try to export to the United States. They try to apply the patent to the United States. It's too late. Patent infringement comes. They need to buy the patent. So a patent, depending on the total sales, they need to pay $1 million, $2 million rather easily. So for collecting this kind of selling or royalties, only patent is taken. Okay? That is usually called the patent pirate. So this is the ethically wrong way. Many people know that. But practically, Mujirushi already failed. You can understand. This is a good way to collect money.
And so if NEC patented in Japan, then they should at the same time patent in the US. Like at the same time. People don't see, like when Mujirushi, for example, when they created the logo in Japan, they should patent it in the US at the same time.
So if I say precisely, okay, NEC got the patent from Japan. To apply for the world patent or other countries' patent, there's a 2-year allowance. So during this period, if they apply for the other countries, it's fine. But usually patent is applying during the small business innovation research other research period. Therefore, usually 2 years easily passed when they start to manufacture. Usually the developing to the final production. Even the Samsung or other mobile phone, typically 1.5 years to 2 years, some time lag happens. Therefore, if we seek the patent, and which has not been really applied for the world patent is quite expensive. Therefore, initially, their own country's patent is applied. And this is disclosed. So these patent pirates are basically hiring a lot of people and searching the other country's patent and collecting all information. And if this company may really, the start manufacturing largely, that patent is taken by the other European territory or US or others, just investing this and collecting it back in a couple of years later. Okay?
Isn't that illegal? Because they are actually not making anything, right?
Legal means what?
Illegal.
Legal. This is domestic only. You may know international legal or law, there's no international law. This is ethics, ethical law, okay? One example, do you know OPEC? Okay, OPEC is a kind of collusion and setting a price. If this happened in the one country, this is illegal. But OPEC, like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, this area, these are international relations. They set. No illegal situation happened. Okay? Internationally, low regulations. Therefore, the patent is created in Japan, still only Japan. So the same patent can be applied for the United States. Okay? Of course, there are some international lawsuit against the patent infringement. How much does it cost? Even a domestic, I attended the domestic US the patent infringement. Starting the patent infringement lawsuit, $300,000, 3,000,000 yen, must be initially deposited in the court. This is just a deposit, start, okay? Small business, do you have $300,000 free money, okay? You cannot start it. And also, if you fail, like a Mujirushi, huge. They probably spend $2 million, $3 million for the lawsuit, but completely failed. Okay, in that case, all required money should be paid by Mujirushi. So Mujirushi, after finishing a lawsuit, if they fail, maybe $5 million to $10 million loss. Okay, therefore, starting a patent infringement, protecting the intellectual property is not very easy. I will explain the real case.
Patent pirate knows that there's no.
Yes, this can be made internationally. If this is made, okay, of course, a patent, Japan, they cannot really apply the same patent in the same country. This is illegal. Law prohibits. But the different countries, there's no particular, the regulation. Okay? Yes?
There's another term that's called patent law.
Mm-hmm.
It's another country.
Patent law depends on each country. So sometimes we will create some union, like international situations, okay? The same situation, CO2 regulation, Paris, or originally Kyoto Protocol, now the Paris, okay? Yes, United States used to be one of the member-like, but Trump clearly declined, okay? Moving in or out, if you say this is the regulations, this is not the real, no penalty at all, okay? How can we create patentability? Do you have any good idea on how to write a patent? You are the engineer. Yeah. How can you start a patent writing? How can you judge this is a good patent or not good patent?
Employee the lawyer. Check.
Serendipity example. P&G, Procter and Gamble. You may know that Procter and Gamble, okay? They are originally candle company. Wax candle, do you know that? Okay. But Thomas Edison discovered or developed the light bulb. You may know this. Who will use a candle? So a candle production dramatically reducing. So P&G almost bankrupt, okay? So they started to make a soap, ivory soap. This is rather interesting, okay? Do you know ivory soap? What is the difference? Of course, wax is original. Therefore, you may use the candle-like, but using directly for the soap. What's the difference of ivory soap and the regular soap at that period? If you solidify the old candles, you can put it during that period. Washing is usually ladies' work, unfortunately. And where is the washing area? Usually pond, okay? Sometimes river, but the pond, okay? And the dipping and the washing and working. Soap is usually sinking. Where is the soap, okay? Ivory soap is typically the, how can I say, the lots of pores, air pore is included. Therefore, like a sponge, this is floating. Floating soap was created. Are you waiting? Okay. So the soap, ivory, was made. Why this happened? This is here. Sorry, 1879. An employee in a Cincinnati factory forgot to turn off his machine, candle machine, okay? When he went to lunch, then he found the actually frosting mass of the laser filled with air bubble. Okay? And so he almost threw the stuff. Usually the engineer made a mistake. They tried to hide and throw away. But accidentally we found that. But instead they decided to make it into soap. So a bubble included soap is actually floating. That makes a hot, okay? Hot product and best selling. The another person came. So just stop slightly. So anyhow, this is the serendipity. Do you know the serendipity? 偶然性とか突然 accidentally に起こること。Do not imitate just a careless but lucky mistake. This is usually the new discovery. Okay?
Like a synchronicity.
Yeah, most of the situations. Some of my discovery is also very similar. So some of the motor widely utilized, like the Samsung Galaxy. One of my former lady undergrad student, she had a bad skill for machining. So irregular, tube was made. That created a beautiful, the invention. So initially, wow, this is terrible. Okay. But the professor Uchino, this works wrong. So I couldn't really understand what's the principle initially, okay? But this kind of accidental invention is typical. So requirement for filling a patent. Finding a patent, most important, novelty, new idea, new function, principle, new structure, different from existing product. I'm not saying anything better performance or others. Anyhow, different structure means patent. Okay? Performance or manufacturing cost is not necessary. So if you develop the new process or design which can make the product cheaper, usually you try to cover it. It's fine, but the patent doesn't require any cost. Okay? Even 10 times expensive, slightly different, the structures, you can file a patent. This is a requirement for the filing patent. Okay, so equivalent performance, but escaping from the existing patent, at least existing from the already existing patent. Okay, so example I will show you immediately. Pdt Tube Motor has a better motor performance. Metal tube is worse performance, but the cheaper manufacturing cost. Bottom line, the above two motors are the different structure. Okay. Which idea will be the best patent? They all are my invention, but some of them are patent, some of them are not good or not. So design, multi-layer, these segmented, laminated structure. This is my original patent, okay? Process, oxygen, the atmosphere controlled. So without controlling oxygen atmosphere, we started to put the ferrite, Fe3O4, in it. And without controlling oxygen atmosphere or pressures, we can create a reduced atmosphere. Okay? Program software, user-friendly. This is, we call it the HyPox software. So user-friendly measuring software has been created. The fourth one is composition. Doping effect of rare earth enhanced the NEC-based compositions and improve the vibration velocity or other performance. Okay. Any comment? Engineer. Can you file all patent? You are shaking.
I don't think so. You have to be precise in detail. So I don't think you can separately.
I'm talking just different design orders. So of course we have a much more detailed knowledge. Initially, we cannot file the patent. Which one? That's correct. This belongs to copyright. Okay? multi-layer can reduce the drive voltage and so on. A good basic pattern. This is the best pattern. Unfortunately, no company catch me. So after 20 years, they started to manufacture billion pieces. So I haven't got any royalty. 20 years is only the limitation of the patent right. Okay?
You don't get extension after 20 years?
No,
Even if you pay?
no. 20 years is a maximum. So if we invent, most of them are too early inventions. So they are waiting 16 years later, they started to research, and the manufacturing point, final commercialization is 20 years. They are always waiting my patent expiration, okay? That's of course the good company, the strategy, okay? Process, not recommended to file. This is the know-how, actually. How do you call it? Know-how in the company. This is IP, actually, but how do you call this? Process cannot be verified technically, even the invasion happens. This is usually called trade secret. Okay? Company guy usually learn the trade secret. Employment agreement usually provide some of the trade secret items. What is in your employment agreement about the trade secret? Huh? How many years? How many years in your company? Oh, of course, the United States, the one person will not really work in the one company longer than typically 5 years. Okay, move to the another company. The 5 years moving out. Trade secret covers how many years?
Maybe
5 years. I don't know, actually. My companies, the employment agreement, once they leave the companies, 2 years is a confidential, okay, period. 2 years in my company situation. 5 years, we don't know. If your company's employment agreement put 5 years, they may not be hired by your company. 5 years later, they already moved out. Okay? So 5 years, no, the all confidential agreement. It's no way to work for another company. 2 years, some buffer period, and move and work the same topic. Okay? That's the typical. This is the trade secret. Just opening the process. This is ridiculous. Okay? So process patent should not be really filed. In my Penn State, of course, chemistry professors usually try to write a process patent. So at the Penn State University, I used to be a patent the evaluator. Therefore, this is a process patent. This is not really get any royalty because the verification is difficult. Okay. Usually, company, okay, if we start a lawsuit, we are not using your technologies, a process, different technology. So you may ask, so what kind of different technology? That's a trade secret of our company. You cannot invade any trade secret, okay? Therefore, no verification. Even the law court doesn't really disclose the this trade secret, this is illegal, okay? Therefore, you should not file any process patent. That's the best way. And keep your mouth shut, okay? After leaving. Or you may increase, okay, if you try to move, we will increase your salary 30%, okay? Negotiation, if this is the key person, okay? Usually other companies are chasing, and typical way to headhunting or manpower hunting is doubled, okay? Your salary will be doubled if you come. If the same company increase, okay, we will also present the double, they will remain. They don't want to move if the salary doesn't increase, okay? So how to protect? Program, so this is trade secret. And this should be the copyright, not the patent, okay? And how about the composition? A subsidiary patent, already NEC filed the patent, but we found a much better additional composition, okay? Therefore, practically we negotiated with the NEC Corporation, trade, this kind of cross-license. What is cross-license? Nobody? This is a business school.
Cross places, like, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but you can use this part, I can use, you may use this part, and then it will, we are in an agreement, because it will benefit you using my patent, and it will benefit me for using my patent. So we agree.
Yes. This is one company has one patent. Another company has another company. If they will mutually integrate, much better performance will be held. This is usually called cross-license. Depending on the subsidiary or main is a little stronger power, okay? But as long as I'm a university professor, we try to create a patent. But the NEC is the major. Therefore, we negotiate, yes, you can use our patent free of charge. To the contrary, our patent must be really filed without making any patent infringement lawsuit. Okay? So that's the NEC and our Sophia University's cross-license. And we didn't, the both will get the benefit, okay? Advantage of piezoelectric. This is why piezoelectric. This is one of the situation. You may know wristwatch. This wristwatch usually has the electromagnetic motors to rotate this hand or minute or hour in a hand. Okay? Electromagnet. This is my partner's Seiko coil and rotor. Rotor is 0.6 millimeter, almost invisible small. However, coil is 12 millimeter, largest portion is provided. And efficiency, rather interesting. My student checked the electromagnetic motors, 3,000 electromagnetic motors commercially available, and plotting lot, okay? So you can find that this general tendency. Very dramatically reducing the specific heat. That means the efficiency is reducing dramatically, okay? This line corresponds to typically 2/3, this log scale, okay? This is due to the Joule heat. Did you take physics in high school? Who took physics in high school? Okay. Joule heat, what is it?
It's the amount of heat.
what kind of heat?
Energy?
Current or voltage is passing, and if conductivity happens, heat comes. So you are using heater, hair dryer or others. These are the Joule heat. Okay? So electromagnetic devices. This wristwatch is around here, 10 milliwatt. So much less than 1%. 95%, this coil creates the heat. So with reducing the motor size for the electromagnetic type, you are developing basically the heater rather than the motor, okay? So to the contrary, piezoelectric size doesn't matter. Always we can keep 30%. So a crossing part is here, 30 watts, 30%. This is the a kind of the key point. Below that, piezoelectric are usually the superior to the electromagnetic type. But one example, kilowatt, don't use the piezoelectric. And you had better use the electromagnetic type, okay? So these are the typical difference. So let's move to the Pdt tube motor. Pdt or tube are made by the, yes, I have the real motor here. I will show you later, okay? So this is the motor. And quite good, high torque, high efficiency, these are created. The size is about 10 millimeter, okay? And this covers the world's smallest high efficiency motor in the IEEE transaction, this cover page. So this was made I think 2001, okay? So Samsung, the Samsung electromagnetics, this vice president came to my, the Penn State University, and they are interested to use this for the camera module for the, you are using a smartphone camera module, okay? This one. So I'm the first guy who created the camera module in the world. That was the 2003, okay? So I tried to use this, but the Samsung electromagnetism, they declined to use a Pdt tube motor. The reason is here, impact shock. Smartphone usually use drops, okay? So the Pdt tube motor, they usually use a 2 meter and the 5G gravity acceleration, bam, 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 okay? To the concrete floor, 5,000 times. If nothing happened, yes, this passed. That's a severe situation. So a Pdt tube, of course, you may understand, ceramic is like porcelain. If you crash, just one time crashes, even this endure, if you hit 100 times, always crack, okay? Therefore, ceramic is not so strong. Therefore, metal tube motor, in this case, they said the metal tube is used, and the ceramic is put here and here. So applying a Pgt, electric field, of course, this will shrink or extend. Therefore, metal tube will make this kind of bending. Another type, putting a Pgt here, therefore, this kind of bending happens. If you synchronously move, this will create this motion. How do you call this mode? This is called hula hoop mode. Have you ever heard of hula hoop? Your generation is younger. Do you know hula hoop? Okay. Wow. Hula hoop is 50 years ago. Have you really seen the hula hoop? Oh, okay. Still remaining. anyhow, this is the hula hoop mode happen, okay? So impact shock test, basically metal, 5,000, nothing happened, okay? And also price. Cylinder, PDT cylinder, one piece is 40 cents. This is just a single piece is 2 cents, okay? So metal tube is almost 0 point some cents, okay? Total manufacturing cost, 6 cents, 6 cents motor. So this is rather cheap motor, okay? And the patent and also lots of they made. So I already danced, so you can find this and this mode. And superposing, this is the hula hoop mode. Therefore, by putting a dish on the top and bottom, this doesn't really rotate, just wobbling. Chinese dish spinning, okay? In that case, you can rotate here and here and create this rotation, okay? Yes, I usually bring this motor here, but 3 weeks ago, I was in the Shanghai and passing through and go to the Korea. Shanghai airport inspector take it up. Moving is a kind of dangerous, probably. So a Chinese inspector is really strict, okay? If something moving, they will take it out.
Is it moving? Can you stop and then carry? Or no?
This is very small, but your finger cannot stop so easily. Therefore, I'm not talking today, but this is medically used and the medical catheter, and removing of blood clot or others are easily created. I will explain later, okay? So patent format. Patent, if you start to write, can you read it? You can find my file in my, I think I already distributed. So if you open it up, what is claimed is, this is the starting word. Number 1, number 2, number 3. The number 1 is most general, and the 2 is specified, 3 more specified, okay? So if you start, multiple claims are usually made. So many years ago, Japanese doesn't accept multiple claims, only one claim. Therefore, only one invention, I submit the 120 patents. So expensive. Now we can shrink down to the 1 or 2 patents. Multiple, the claims can be provided. Okay, lower 2 general, lower number 1 or 2 are 2 general, and higher is specific. This is the writing style. So if I explain, this is also the patent. Okay. So what is claimed is, okay, the royalty. Rotary ultrasonic piezoelectric motor comprising stator, power source, and rotor, rather general, okay? Patent claim 2. This is just a writing word. The rotary motor as set force means here, okay? This is a patent legal word, so we need to remember this. I'm a patent attorney in Japan, but I'm not taking a certificate in the United States, but I can read, and Japanese patent also has a special wording. So just reading, the usual people cannot really understand, okay? So I wrote as set for 1, so claim 1. Further, this is the wording. Satisfying this and further comprising metal ring and plurality of teeth and so on. Okay? These are made. And again, number 1 and 3, the motor as set of claim 1, and where said bottom electrode is this and this. Just the different are created, okay? And number 4. So you can claim a lot of different types in the one patent, okay? And the additional novelty, new idea. So new function, a new structure, different from the existing. So I will repeat again. Performance is not necessary. Good or not, as I told you, Pdt the tube is better than metal tube. But finally, metal tube is utilized by the Samsung Galaxy, okay? So in that case, the performance, Pdt tube is better. But worse performance, but the cost or this test, the shock test, definitely the metal tube is better. So loyalty to the basic patent or cross-license, you can work. I already mentioned this part. So the initials are coupled with this. 2 metal tubes are creating. And you can find with this screw. Screw is rotating from this part. And this is zooming, and this is focusing. So usually 2 motors are combined here. And this is our lab's test, okay? And finally, this is embedded into the camera. Camera at that time, before the smartphone period. Do you know this opening and closing? Flip type, okay? This the cellular phone. Probably you are not so young not to know this type, okay? And this is 203. It took 13 years for the Samsung Galaxy 6S version. So I sent my former graduate student to the Samsung and spending this, all finished already. So this part, motor is here. This is like a sesame seed. Sesame seed means 1 millimeter, okay? You can see it. This is zooming. This is focusing, okay? And all are combined here. And we put these circuit originally side, but circuit is already somewhere, already invisible, okay? So metal tube, it's not disappearing yet. So this is a new scale tech, one of my partner company located in the Maryland. No, New Jersey, okay? They are moving this again, coupled with a screw mechanism. Just 1 second. See? The screw and combine. So Japanese Tamura or others are still using this metal tube type motor for the camera module. So this is still alive, okay? And this is a Sanitec, a Taiwan company. They started, can you see this? The metal tube is used different ways, okay? We can license multiple companies. Metal tube design itself is licensed. So they can use a different screw combination is a squiggle type, or in this case, the perpendicular uses, okay? And the medical application, smallest one is now the 1 millimeter, and the width is 1.3 millimeter, but still your finger cannot so easily stop. Therefore, we started to couple with this medical catheter and crushing out. This is artificial blood vessel. This is my finger, so you can find the okay, index finger. So this is a couple millimeter. This is a motor, 1.3 millimeter. We put the large drill. much larger than the motor, but this rotates and crushes the blood clot, okay? So this is the minimum invasive surgery, and the motor and the coupled, a drill, and so on. But actually, from my companies, I was trying to start the patent filing. This failed, actually. Provisional patent application, ultrasonic micro device for the removal of intravascular blockage. So intravascular blood clot, okay? This blockage, removing this. This is my former student and the company executive, okay? And myself and the partner. With metal tube motor, this was submitted, and we created the trademark, already micro disruptor, but this hasn't been accepted. Patent problem happened. So this is one of my students writing. This is the Pdt Tube Motor, original Shushan Dong. He is now the Peking University professor, eminent professor now. So they made this Pdt tube, okay? But interestingly, the final part, they put, in order to obtain optimum driving characteristics, this is not good. This type of stator with a thin diameter and long configuration is well suited for the intravascular applications. They didn't work for any intravascular, but the student usually try to write more futuristic, some ideas or other. So he wrote these sentences using a Pdt tube, but they restrict for finding our new really tested design. Okay? Paper on the Pdt tube motor. He reported possible application for intravascular application. Though metal tube motor is now used, and the intravascular application seems to be obvious, this is the patent in the evaluated comment. So this was declined. Okay? Even a different motor, but this. So we should not include just a guess in the publication. So after that, I restrict the student. We can use it for something. Never use this. Never write this. Okay. So if this is publicized, patent cannot be really, filed. Okay. So of course, the time lapse is more than 3-4 year period. Therefore, when this guy writes up, the papers, like a PhD thesis, of course, futuristic, some application, he would like to include in the paper, okay? That's wrong. That proceeded the next generation PhD's patent. He worked lots on the intravascular, this research, but so possibility, of course, use a different vibration mode, different motor, not this kind. If this moves, only this or zigzag, okay? The system is different. Or another one, this part mentioned, we cannot really take it up. This part is a drill different. We can submit only the drill designs for this, okay, like this. We can submit the patent. But the total micro disruptor, that was my company's some new product. This was actually canceled due to the mistakenly written one sentence by the former graduate student. Okay. So patent infringement. Lawsuit case studies. This will be explained. a little dark. So you had better read my presentation file. This is the ultrasonic motor, actually. So Shinsei industry, this developed this. Japan developed a traveling wave type piezo or ultrasonic motors. The original patent was applied in 1981, okay? In Japan. They expanded the worldwide. So worldwide, this patent. So started from 1981. So until 2001, this is alive, okay? So they have been selling them worldwide for several years. So I moved to the Penn State to 1991, okay? So 10 years later, XYZ company. This is video taped, therefore I cannot disclose the name. XYZ company, US applied another type of traveling wave motor patent. I really consulted this with Canon or others. So I also consulted this. Therefore, I can easily write a different patent, okay? So they applied another type of traveling wave motor patent only in the US in 1994, okay? XYZ started selling their product for NASA in the United States. That this caused a patent infringement against Shinsei. Of course, slightly different, but Shinsei Motors patent covers rather wide fundamental patent. That means claim 1 covers any type of traveling wave. We cannot escape from this claims. So claim 2, Shinsei Motor, covers one example of traveling motor. This, okay? This is too wide. I don't know, this is really covered, but this is covered. Therefore, I designed, so basically sine and cosine are covered and creating this. So this is XYZ patent. Under my the consultations, 1994, Pdt Tube. So original Shinsei motor is one ring, Pdt ring, and this part are some different cosine and sine driving. So the new design is Pdt ceramic, two different. One is driven by the cosine, and another one is sine. So different design, okay? So two Pdt ring, one Pdt ring, but practically if claim 1 is the same, they really widely covered, traveling wave, both traveling wave, okay? Therefore, a little critical situation. If Shinsei started the lawsuit against this XYZ, therefore the kind of the model lawsuit started and communicating with the Shinsei and this, okay? So comment, actually, Shinsei's patent claim 1 covers any traveling wave type motor. This is basic patent, if this is actually true. Though XYZ design with a 2 Pdt plate can be recognized as a different design from a Shinsei patent product with 1 Pdt ring, their patent is a sort of extended patent. So we may need to negotiate slightly, okay? If XYZ started to commercialize the P motors without paying a royalty to Shinsei, it is patent infringement. Lawsuit may start, okay? What is commercialization? What is the definition of commercialization? Selling to any person?
Yes, to public, to everyone.
That's good answer. Public. Okay? Canon, Japan, developed a slightly modified ultrasonic motor for their camera automatic focusing mechanism. They paid a royalty to Shinsei until the patent expiration. Therefore, 2001 and 20 years, this is the patent expiration. Therefore, long period, more than 10 years, they continuously paid the royalty. Of course, Canon is making a large quantity. Therefore, even the royalty per year means a couple $1 million, okay? To Shinsei. Shinsei's product is only the revenue is $3 million. So $2 million additional income is quite rich without doing anything, okay?
Did they think about producing, did they know about the Shinsei's patent? Or no? We don't know.
They know it, of course.
Know it
yes.
Before they produce. But they think it's not the infringement, so they did proceed.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
If the Canon is really aggressive and keeping a good attorney, Canon may win for this patent infringement lawsuit, but actually failed. So Matsushita also took almost the same motors for their Matsushita's development. They tried to crash the Shinsei motor through the lawsuit, but actually the Matsushita failed. So this is rather strong, the basic patent.
So it's a good maybe writing, patent writing. No?
Therefore, Shinsei's patent,
Is a good
yes,
patent.
keeps all safe, permanently survive, okay? So Canon, they utilize for the automatic camera module. So my comment, okay, patent infringement. XYZ sold their motors to the NASA. If this product, the delivery was made through the research contract, NASA is a government, okay? Government and XYZ, if they make a contract research, like a small business innovation research, deliverable items. Do you know deliverable?
Something tangible.
Yes, using a contract and making, okay, we can provide 200 pieces. In that case, deliverable. Of course, contract work is $2 million, okay? So 200 pieces, so how much one piece?
200 pieces.
Yeah, 200 pieces, $2 million. Huh? Yeah, $10,000 for one piece. But the commercial case, like a Shinsei motor, if they put one piece of motor, $10,000, who will purchase this, okay? Camera module, this is less than $100, okay? So extraordinarily expensive a unit price, okay? This sale is not considered as a regular commercialization. It's not the public. As long as we will make the sum of the company agreement, so a company, our ICAT can create a Shinsei motor to sell, let's say, RCA or other IBM, yes. We don't call it the sell, but the research contract and providing 200 pieces. We are not, no lawsuit happened. This is the contract Okay? So we can pass it. But if IBM started to use this sensei motor for the public usage, of course IBM is a patent infringement. Do you understand? Contract. So if XYZ started to sell their motor into this is the real, the legal word, unrestricted market customer. This is called commercialization. Okay? Unrestricted. Shinsei can start a lawsuit against XYZ. However, another comment is related with the cost of this patent infringement lawsuit. Royalty, one example, 5% of the sales price, okay? Cannot cover the cash budget, did I say? $300,000 for starting a lawsuit. The lunchtime, so some of you already listened. $300,000, starting a lawsuit, you need to deposit this for the law court, okay? So the Shinsei tried to, they start a lawsuit against XYZ. Shinsei needs to just deposit $300,000. It's not so cheap. So small business company cannot really deposit this. And if XYZ will sell only 200 pieces for the NASA, okay? This 5% royalty, like $100, that means 5%, $5, 200 pieces, it doesn't really cover. Okay? So $300,000 is the law. Therefore, they usually do not really start the lawsuit. Any question?
That means it seems like it's not fair to the small or medium companies who do not have the money to get $3,000. It seems like the large company have power to actually use the patent. If small companies do not have money.
No, if the infringing company will create 1 million pieces, and revenue will be more than $500 million.
It's worth.
Yes, even the loan is made and $300,000, we can get it. But this XYZ is a NASA's application. So actually, this XYZ's application is the nuclear missile launching system. So typically 200, 300 at one time. I cannot disclose all nuclear missile numbers in the United States, but this is not so large, okay? And this is all contract, therefore it's not the selling, okay?
So people will think, small companies, they will think before they hire lawyers.
Yes, if you find some of the patent infringement, just wait a couple of years. If they will start a large sales, start lawsuit and collecting lots of, yeah. If you stop immediately, still the production amount is so small, you cannot really compensate this. So $300,000 should be the really small amount compared with the finally obtained royalty. In that case, you had better start. Okay? Otherwise, useless. You will lose the money. So as I told you, patent is a kind of protection of technology. But another important issue is collecting money. Another situation, if your company is not a large quantity manufacturer, you had better sell the patent to this new company. How about the $30 million? Can you purchase my patent? Okay? So if the company, the large company will create a $500 million revenue in the future, $30 million is not so expensive. So they may. So at least what is the benefit for selling timing or collecting royalty? This you need to really calculate seriously. This is the company strategy, okay? However, this comment, okay? XYZ sold this motor to the NASA. If this product deliver was made through the research contract deliverable items, this sales is not considered commercialization. Thus, Shinsei cannot request any royalty payment, okay? And if XYZ started others, Shinsei can start. And however, another comment is related with this, $300,000, just a deposit. Therefore, you need to consider how large revenue will be really expanding in the future. Comment. Finding an interesting patent in a foreign country and submitting a similar patent in the United States seems to be against the business ethics, but it can be found in many cases. This is called patent mafia. Lots of patent mafia in New York, okay? And merely to collect royalty, okay? It is rather difficult for the US Patent Office to comprehensively search the world patents to prevent this sort of immoral patent application. This is just ethics or moral. It's not regulated by the law, okay? As I told you, this is international situation. Therefore, no law will be created. So a patent pilot. Any questions? Yes?
How about emerging country, like emerging big country like China, conducted patent mafia by nation strategically. US, for example, the US was in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Rules by national state.
Mm-hmm.
Is there such fact? If there are such, do you know such fact? National scale patent mafia.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow, patent pirates, originally after the Russian crash, the New York was a Russian patent mafias. Russian mafia, like a patent mafia, is a very huge, okay? And now, as I initially mentioned, the Mujirishi, okay? So this is now the China. My company was accessed by this kind of trademark mafia from China. So micromechatronics is already filed in China. Therefore, if you will export some of our product to China, you are interfering the infringement.
So you may have to pay,
Yes.
even if it's the name is the company's name, but it's not patented in China. So.
My name, our company's name cannot be really used. So like Micromechatronics China, we cannot make any branch. We need to buy this trademark. So trademark, initially they request $10,000. It's still cheap. Next year, this will be increased, or a kind of a threat comes, okay? Actually, I neglected completely.
So no marketing in China? No marketing. You neglect, meaning not do business in China.
In my company situation, restricted. We are an army-related company. So lawsuit B, patent infringement. July 2006, MMEC, my company, received a letter from the ABC that our distributing product, amplified piezoelectric actuator. This is the distributing. ABC is and imported from XYZ. Okay, ABC is the U.S. company, and MMEC is distributing amplified piezo actuator. This product imported from XYZ France. Okay. And a patent infringement against ABC patent. So ABC strongly suggested MMEC to stop distributing XYZ product according to the following reference data. Consider how you will decide on this matter: quit distribution or fight against this claim. If you are the CEO, I was the CEO at that time. How do you work? Patent, initially. Initially, I worked with the NEC. So this is NEC's old patent, already expired. This is 1986, okay? And the patent NEC. Like the eggshell type and putting a multi-layer too. This is a fundamental pattern. I know this, okay? So because the NEC original patent expired already, the author considers the ML flex tensional idea is well-known knowledge, okay? So this is the imported type, XYZ pattern. Here, ring and putting a multi-layer. And this is the initially France or Europe pattern. Almost the same time, ABC submitted a patent in the United States. A little zigzag, slightly different shape, and putting a multi-layer here. So we are distributing this in the United States. So this ABC patent design infringing this patent. Therefore, ABC mentioned to pay the royalty or stop the distribution. Okay. XYZ is using a no hinge. This is rather flat here, and weight balance is put, but ABC patent using a hinge here, okay, and the arm here. Therefore, I can say that two patent design is different. Just my argument, but they try to, start a lawsuit. So comment the wide claims of the ABC patent, the multi-layer flex tensional. This is too wide. Already, patent expired. NEC patent expired. This is already well-known knowledge. This is my argument. So I persuaded this ABC president, okay, you may start a lawsuit. You need to put the $300,000 deposit. We are distributing some of them, but the revenue doesn't reach to the $1 million. So even we set the 5%, 1 million 5% doesn't cover the $300,000. Okay? And this general argument is well-known knowledge. I involved in the original NEC development. So this ABC, the president knows me. Therefore, he stopped this for complaining this. Okay. So evaluation at the U.S. Patent Office seems to be too rough on the ABC patent. ABC patent should not be really accepted in the US. In that case, no particular problem. But they accepted, therefore, they started to start a lawsuit against my companies distributing this product. Okay? So they should not approve this patent originally, but already accepted. Finding an interesting patent in a foreign country and submitting a similar patent in the US seems to be against the business ethics again, but it can be found in many cases merely to collect the royalty. Patent mafia. This is the typical example, okay? So, already 3 o'clock. Any questions?
Is there any way to protect your intellectual property from patent mafia?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to do to protect your IP from patent mafia?
So if your company is interested in to distribute worldwide, if you submit a patent in Japan, as I told you, 2-year allowance for submitting the worldwide patent. So your development must be very quick, less than 2 years, and creating some market in the worldwide. You need to submit the extended world patent from the base. So all patent started from this original patent year. So 20 years protection is made. So basically, my comment about the Mujirushi, lack of knowledge of the managers. That's it. If they are interested to provide the Chinese, some of the market or trademark, all must be taken, okay? 2-year allowance. Therefore, if their strategy is very slow or they are not seriously considering, actually they failed already. The lawsuit already, the China win, okay? So the manager's decision must be quick.
I just like to know if this applied to like the case of the Hollywood movie. They said that this little lion, Samba or Simba,
Mm-hmm.
from Hollywood, they remake it, but the original was also a copy from the comic book of Tezuka-san.
Mm.
But Tezuka-san was very bumpered. He said that somebody copied him, which is from Hollywood, made into movie, and he didn't find anything. But
Mm-hmm.
people said it was already an infringement, but the author didn't think.
Yes, this is copyright situation, okay? Copyright happened occasionally now in China, okay? Therefore, how can I say, we may need to set some of the regulation in worldwide. And of course, in the future, China's ethical consideration will be gradually moving because China is now the number 2 in the GDP. They cannot continue this kind of mafia situation, okay? Therefore, the government will really consider something. But at least the Japanese the company is so loose for protecting technology or others. Therefore, now the Japanese the competitiveness in the world is previously, of course, number 1. Okay, after 1991, dramatically dropping 2, 3, 4. Now the worldwide number 26. Okay, much lower than the Philippines. Okay, so the competitiveness is evaluated by the investors, some ideas. So which country is really attractive for investing the money, okay? In that case, Japan is less, very less attractive for investing anything. Okay? So this losing corresponds to the espionage situation. The Japanese economy was terrible. To the contrary, the yen currency is 76, 75 yen, 1 US dollar, really strong. Therefore, you cannot export so much. And the company started to reduce the salary level, 10%, 20% in the, you are much younger, but 1990s, yes, dramatically reducing. Therefore, the company engineers needs to pay back the house loan or others. Therefore, they need to take a side work in Korea. So lots of Samsung. Yes, I was consulting Samsung previously. Therefore, I know the Japanese are coming on the weekend, okay, and coming back. So almost all, the major Japanese electronics industries are recruited for just a weekend. 20 people are usually recruited in the one Korean companies, okay? This is usually illegal in the United States. But the Japanese companies' employment agreement didn't say so much about the competitive companies' employment. So they are leaking all, so just 1 day, 2 day delay for transferring to the Samsung, okay? Therefore, in that situation, economically, the wage is half compared with Japan. Therefore, they can make a much cheaper. So many years ago, 30 years ago, Sony, Hitachi, something, they all beautiful television. If you visit the Walmart in the United States, no Japanese television, okay? Zero. Samsung LG itself, okay? RCA is just like assembly company. Therefore,
Funai TV.
huh?
Funai's TV. I heard Funai's TV.
Taiwan or China's are now invading, much cheaper, but still quality-wise, still Samsung LG is a major. So the Office Depot or the Radio Shack, these are cheaper versions are taken. But anyhow, Koreans are all taken, okay? So basically, even the computers. No, Dell, of course, this is US, okay? Dell is not a real manufacturer, just assembling company, okay? Yeah, the Hewlett Packard or others are fine, Apple, okay? But others, almost all are Korean computers, okay? Japanese, almost all electronic companies abandoned for the computer, okay? So what will be remaining in Japan? You need to really seriously consider. But still, you are not hiring the foreign, researchers or others, okay? The restriction is still there. And the population is not really stopping, still decreasing, okay? You need to stop initially the working the force. Without having any working force, Japanese will decrease. This year is 26, next year 30 or others, okay? We need to compare the Japanese economy like Africans, some countries, okay? Yes?
Thank you for your presentation. And as for your perspective, what kind of skill set or knowledge do Japanese business actually needed? I mean,
Knowledge protection?
as far as patent, it is kind of popular.
General knowledge protection. I already, have you read my book? The crisis technology, global crisis and sustainability technology, which used last year and this year. That book clearly mentioned why Japanese crashed down so dramatically. The key point is espionage. Japanese regulation doesn't have any espionage. Do you know espionage? Spies. Spy 防止法. Espionage regulation. Therefore, yes, company guy can easily transfer the high technology to Korea or China. And one of my former Japanese university professor, I should not say the real name, okay? This professor is now hired by the Shanghai Jiao Tong University, like a special 5-year professors. And he said, I have more than 20, 25 postdoc and transferring all. He was the Monbusho, the Ministry of Education's real highest rank, the researchers. After quitting, less than 2 years, he moved, rehired by the Shanghai, and 5 years, all are taken, okay? So these, I cannot really hired by the communist countries, at least. I will be arrested. 20-year prison, in my case. That's espionage, okay? I'm working for the Navy's top rank technologies. This kind of high rank officer or any company's person should not be employed by the other companies, competitive companies. If you have some hobby and playing golf or others, it's fine, okay? But the same technology will be transferred to another company, okay? This is usually regulated by espionage regulation. Interestingly, Japan doesn't have any espionage, okay? Abe-san, the Prime Minister Abe, needs to really set strong this protection type. Otherwise, all technologies are passing through to the worldwide immediately after a couple of hours later. Weekend, today is weekend, so some of the, going to some other countries. Okay? The Korean Samsung, when I visit now, no Japanese, no more learning from Japan.
They passed.
Yeah, they already won. Samsung already won all Bluetooth or other technologies. Japan is just far behind now, okay? So when catching up, that's the 1990s. Not anymore. Korean technology is much better than Japanese now, okay? Yes? Investment from where? Investment usually provided by the company, but the company's revenue or profit is now not good. Okay? Therefore, many companies are already merged by the other Taiwan or China or Korean industries. Okay? Even the Nissan was merged by Renault. Okay? So Toyota itself is still fine. Okay? But anyhow, investment, government, Japanese government had the largest deficit. Of course, US had some deficit, but not as large as Japan, okay? Japan is already more than bankrupt, okay? Therefore, no investment is expected. So without investing, to protect, regulation must be strengthened. No freedom to move to outside. So weekend worker is not allowed. This is espionage, actually, in my feeling. I'm working particularly military. So if I work to the other country, similar issues, of course, I will be arrested 10 years in prison, okay, easily. Of course, this teaching is just education. I received usually permission, okay? This is just a regular teaching. And even the broadcasting, I'm trying to not to create a so serious problem, okay? So this is fine, but the companies usually technical issues much strong. In this case, I'm not saying so much, just legal issues are mentioned, okay? Any other questions?
How much does it, oh, sorry. How much does it, do you have to pay for the global patent? Meaning if you patent in Japan, it's probably,
The current price?
like in total, if you're trying to get the global patent, that seems a lot of money.
Are you asking filing money?
Filing,
One example, the Penn State, of course, we usually use a patent attorney to create a final patent.
right,
So the initial filing, we need to spend 5,000,
5,000 yourself.
yes. And keeping every year is 25,000, one patent. Okay? That's a typical. So the professor's role is to find out the patent licensees. Without finding the more than 3 possible companies, this patent cannot be filed. Okay? Patent needs to create money. Otherwise, even a university doesn't really submit any patent. Company, of course, also they need to really judge the future profitability of the patent. Many years ago, of course, Japanese company tried to submit the patent, almost possible, okay? But probably this is not anymore, okay? My patent was passing through the lots of Japanese companies. They used to maintain at least 10 years or so. But nowadays, Professor Uchino, can you permit us to sell the patent, okay? Or without the continuing? They shrunk the patent holding. In my feeling, let's see, less than half. Less than half already sold out. Maybe the internationally. If this is sold to the international, of course, the Japanese technology is reducing, okay?
This industry espionage had by Korean company contribute to increase of competitiveness.
Okay.
But I think that explicit knowledge, such as represented by patent, is not protected by patent right. What kinds of knowledge contributed to increasing their competitive?
Are you asking the competitiveness of the small business?
Their explicit knowledge and patent knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that crucial explicit knowledge is protected by patent right. But industry espionage transfer what kinds of knowledge to Korean companies, except for knowledge protected by patent.
Korean companies?
Such as Samsung or LG is
Mhm.
hired Japanese engineers.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe engineers' knowledge can be classified into protected by patent, and they are not know-how
Mhm.
or patent. It's not.
At least one example, Samsung is one of the strongest industry at this moment. Why their technology is expanding for a short period? This is probably the answer to your question. They hire or they buy the brain from the worldwide. Okay? One example, they created lots of the camera module. They bought me first, and I sent the 3 postdoc to the Samsung and creating a 200 people's big group, including the building, okay? And spending 3 years and developed and shrinking gradually, and remaining guy after 13 years, they created this Galaxy 6S version. After that, nobody is working. This 6S version is still ongoing. This is already small enough for any 10 or 11, okay? So it's fine. The newest version, which they need, is like a flexible mobile phone. Nobody is using here the flexible. And the new version is actually folding here, center. Again, flip, classic like a flip, okay? But now smartphone is flexible. You can easily push in. And the size is a little larger. Of course, compared with the iPhone 4, iPhone 11, mine is probably smallest. Now expanding largely, okay? Now too large. This is too large for my pocket. Therefore, why don't you fold here? So flexible. This is the newest version. Nobody is using in Japan. You cannot fold at the center. You are still low tech. Some of the U.S. student is already started to purchase, but rather expensive. Only Chinese rich student can purchase it. They started to fold, okay? This is more than $1,000.
US dollar.
Uh-huh. Typical this mobile phone, $500, okay? Last year's version is $300 in the US.
I saw the foldable mobile phone. I mean, I read an article about foldable phone.
Yeah.
I guess last year, but I've never seen any such mobile phones in Japan. Did they start selling
Yes, we can purchase it now. If you'd like, come to our town. You can purchase. Rather expensive, okay? So anyhow, technology or others, this is another investment. So basically, the Samsung strategy is hiring a tech person, okay? US is the same situation. If we find a good professor in Europe, we can take this professors to Penn State, okay? Therefore, even a young 40 years old associate professor, we can pay close to the $300,000, okay? If your salary is doubled, you will really move, okay? Definitely. My situation is the same, okay? At Sophia University, I don't have any particular complaints, but compared with a busy schedule, salary is so low, okay? Therefore, If they provide, okay, wow, double. We can easily move it, okay? So once they get some leader, yes, others are just use like subordinate. They can put me the 88 people, okay? In that case, we can easily expand it. That's the typical way. So if you need some technology, you can buy it from the other countries. Even in Japan, it's fine, okay? The flexibility for thinking human resources, that's most important. Leader must be put, and after that, the collecting subordinate. So when I was hired by the Penn State, 3 important things was requested. First, professor's role, number 1. What is number 1? Huh? Huh? First, collecting money, collecting people, make a harmony. If you still have some time, you may work on research. Director's position doesn't need any research. Okay? Director doesn't have time for research. Therefore, just the control, collecting money, collecting human resources, people, and finally harmony. Okay? All arranged. So one example, this mobile phone. Metal tube, the one student took 1 year, 2 years to make it. And using this metal tube, how long did we take for making this module, camera module? Can you guess?
Maybe 3 months.
That's correct. 3 months. So the Samsung sent me 7 people from Korea. I collected worldwide, that's the summertime. One is the good ultrasonic motor guy from the Turkey professor, my graduate student. Take him back, and another one. So we took 7, again, worldwide. And this Turkey guy, including Korean guy and other French guy, all are sent to Korea and start up a big, the research lab. So I took a 5-year research contract and commuting every 2 months to Korea and moving check. So 3 months initially made this. So I have automatically get the 14 people. We need to arrange the, like a Gantt chart, okay, completely. And less than 3 months, we need to create it. Money, the Samsung covered. Okay, you can spend $500,000, 3 months. So money doesn't matter. Any large money. $1 million, yes, we can get it. As much as you can. But the restriction is 3 months. At least we need to create it.
The deliverable.
Yes. Who can do it, okay? This is a company inside the university, but I'm a director and the center director. Therefore, without having this kind of management speed, we cannot really commercialize so much. At that time, all the companies are competing for the mobile phone, okay? Mobile phone, so the Samsung must be number 1 first, okay? Vice President likes this fast, worldwide. Yes?
Who designed the strategy to we can make this within just 3 months? Who draw timeline for the development project? Professor or manager is company?
I really chose all. So 7 guys from Samsung is a camera module guy, all. So they have some basic knowledge. So we can get it. The daily meeting, less than 30 minutes, of course. All need to spend their research. So I will shuffle. You need to do this. So 1 week project and daily assignment. In the early morning, we need to discuss this. And anyhow, 3 months is the regulation. If we cannot really make it, probably this project is completely disappear. That's the Samsung speed, okay? So without having the leaders, Samsung research is usually booming up and down, up, down. So maximum 6 months. So if the manager cannot really create a good result, this will be expelled. Hiring new, okay? So the employee is like one of the gear. So if this gear is really strong, the company is moving. So Bluetooth, of course, the same situation, okay? So they are targeting some of the technologies, and the world famous guys are sponsored and combined. So Samsung vice president, their role is visiting all the worldwide universities and finding out the new technology, okay? Vice president, usually. Vice president, do you know how many vice presidents in the Samsung? Not so small.
Maybe 100?
I don't know. At that period, that was 2000, early 2000, more than 50. Yeah. So division initially, even the vice president, the camera module. Only the 7 people. So they sent all to Penn State, and returning back, and they moved up to the 220 people. Okay. Less than 3 years. 5 years later, usually stopped and decreasing. So research almost all done, and the final project, the final installation and so on. Typically 5 to 6 remaining engineers. So 13 years later, one of the remaining student left. That's end. All disappeared. Okay. So making and disappearing. So of course, these 3 of my former students, one moved to the Germany, one moved to the Singapore, one moved to he moved to the inside Korea and become a professor. At least they are moving rather quickly, okay? And also successful product is made. In that case, any company can hire the new. So creating, expanding, and shrinking, longest 10-year period, okay?
How about Mitsubishi Juko as the ship industry? Recently, Mitsubishi Juko sell Nagasaki dosage of small company, small group company. Since recently, the Korean company gets a lot of Taiyo-jichu, a lot of orders because of cheap cost. And then, in this case, Mitsubishi Juko needs a lot of investment to people or to new technology to the other countries.
I don't quite understand your question. But anyhow, ship manufacturing, of course, when I was young, Japan was on top, okay? And the second, UK or others, okay? US is not so. Now, which country is the number 1? Korea, okay? Japan is now the number 4 or 5, the gradually decaying, okay? And basically our battleship is ordered to the Korean, okay? The Korean is making good. Of course, China's ship manufacturing is now the number 3, okay? Rather highly moving up. So the ship manufacturing, unfortunately, Japanese young generation doesn't really want to work for the ship manufacturing. That's the problem. At this moment, we had better stop and having a 15 minutes break and continue the next topic.